Welcome to part 5 of learning how to calibrate your filament in your slicer. Today we'll be calibrating the max volumetric flow rate. As usual, this can be found under the calibration menu here. Hover over more and you'll be able to see max flow rate. Once selected, you can choose the start and end volumetric speed. I'm going to roll with the default values, but you can obviously change them if you wish. The test piece will then be added to your plate, which looks like the letter E. After slicing, you can change the view type to flow. This way you can actually see the volumetric flow differences up the model, with it starting slow and then ending at the highest volumetric speed. This shouldn't be confused with the flow ratio, which we covered in one of the previous videos. Once printed, we can analyze the results. Basically what we're looking for is the point in which the print quality suffers, such as under extrusion or straight up spaghetti. In my case, it seems that this filament handled the test pretty well, with very slight defects at the top here, although you probably can't even see it on video. However, if you do see noticeably lower print quality, you should measure at what point this occurs in the model, using calipers or even a ruler, and then you can take this measured value back into your slicer, in the Slice Preview tab with the view mode set to Flow, and then move the green bar on the side here approximately to the layer that you measured. This is possible because the lower number here corresponds to the height of that layer. If the exact numbers don't correspond, then go one layer below what you measured, just to be safe. Now you can move the bottom bar here, which will show you the volumetric flow rate of that layer, and this is your max volumetric flow rate for your filament. However, to be conservative, it's suggested to take a value 10% below this. In my case, my filament was good up to a value of 20, so taking 10% off gives me 18, which I can then put into my custom filament profile. If you scroll down in the filament tab, you'll find max volumetric speed here. This should give the filament a nice bump in print speed. Make sure you save if you've made your changes, and because this is the last filament-based calibration we'll be running, I'm going to print a benchy and then compare it to the first benchy we printed using generic settings in part 1 of this series. Besides the obvious hull line, which is typical for benchies, I think this looks pretty good. It handled the increased volumetric flow rate really well, and comparing to the first benchy, which actually looked pretty good to be fair, there was some under extrusion, which you may or may not be able to see very clearly on the video, but it was there. This has now been fixed on the new benchy, so the calibrations were definitely worth it. Thank you so much for watching. There is one more test to carry out, which I'll cover in the next video, so make sure you follow so you don't miss it.